as we finish up against Iowa. If you watch the video, I mean, we saw what happened during the time. We had a big lead, didn't finish the way we would like to. We see things in our program that we're doing that will eventually get us over the hump, though. We're gaining, but we got to be able to finish it. Perfect time this week to do that. From the Iowa game, we had some injuries. We have a little bit of time before we play. Hopefully we get most of those guys back. I'll talk on injuries a little bit later on in the week. Land of Lincoln Trophy, of course, is up. It's been up north for too long. Our guys will be pumped up and ready to go, and we plan on playing our best game we played all year. Take your questions.
Okay, Jim Cotter, you're leading off. Colin on deck, Scott Beatty in the hole. So go ahead, Jim.
Good afternoon, Lovie. Hope you're doing well. I know you talked about the rivalry game with Northwestern. You've got a lot of Illinois guys on the team that probably want to see that trophy head back south. Just what have you talked about to the guys about wanting to get that trophy back, and just what does this game mean to you personally?
Well, we talked about the rivalry this morning, but I think if you're in football and you've been in football for a period of time, you understand what that means. Everybody to a man, if you ask a college player, hey, in high school, who was your rival? How did you do against your rival? They can spit out those stats pretty quick. So this is important. And for us, of course, Northwestern has 5 wins. We have 2 wins. Just for us to get our 3rd win. I think there's 4 teams with over 3 wins in the Big Ten Conference right now. So we have a chance to get that 3rd win. That's pretty important to us.
Thank you, Lovie.
You're welcome.
All right, Colin, you're up. Scott Beatty on deck. Go ahead, Colin.
Lovie, I know you mentioned at the end of the Iowa game that Mike Epstein, you expect him to be available for the Northwestern game. First of all, is that still the case?
That is still the case. We haven't been on the field since I talked with you, but that is the case. Nothing has changed.
Okay. Now, obviously, you'd like to get him back in the offense, I would assume. But with that said, do you plan to try and utilize Isaiah Williams any additionally this week, or do you have you liked the way you guys have used him throughout the last couple of games since Brandon got back?
I'd like to go over our game plan with you, but I know you can understand why I can't really talk about that. I mean, we're going to do everything we possibly can to win. There's a place for Isaiah. He gave us a spark the other day. I said that after the game. We'll kind of see how it goes. We're game planning and deciding exactly what we'll be doing, but show up Saturday, you'll see.
And then I know you said you'd address injuries later this week, so I'll kind of pivot this question to ask about those guys who ended up kind of filling in for the guys who were injured on the defensive side of the ball, guys like Michael Marquez and Kendall Smith. How did you feel? I know you said things didn't go well. People didn't exactly step up in some spots. But how did you feel about the way those guys filled in?
Well, there's a lot of us that's had a lot of opportunities that didn't play as well, and I expected more from myself and a lot of others. But for the Mike Marquez's, the Kendall Smith, I thought they stepped up and allowed us to continue to compete. Michael Marquez's situation, I mean, Mike has walked on for us and has given us a lot of good play throughout. Kendall Smith has played a lot of different positions. We had Bryce Barnes that stepped up. When you get later into the season and injuries hit you and other things, there's opportunities for guys to show us who they are. And that's what we got. We may have to call upon some of those guys this week. We'll see.
Thanks, Lovie.
You're welcome.
Okay, Scott Beatty and then Jeremy Warner on deck. Go ahead, Scott.
Good afternoon, Lovie. Northwestern continues to be a team that hangs their hat on defense, of course, but they made a switch at OC for this year. What have you noticed about what's different for them compared to last year offensively?
Well, I do know their offensive coordinator personally for a long period of time. He was on my staff when I was up north. Mike Bajakin is an outstanding coach. 2 other quarterbacks. He's also my quarterback coach down in Tampa. What we've seen is a lot of things are similar, though. I mean, a lot of college offenses are similar as far as, some of the read option concepts. But we see a little twist of NFL too from Mike's background. Third down, just in general running the football. But what we're going to see is a multiple offensive attack. Ramsey has played good football in our conference, knows the conference well, to make a lot of bad decisions. That's what they've done. They've protected the football and haven't beaten themselves. And playing the way their defense is playing right now, it kind of allows them to do that.
And then similar to Iowa, do you feel like Northwestern is sort of a known quantity because of how they've excelled over the years?
Explain yourself, a known quantity.
You kind of know what you're getting with them, schematically and all that.
Well, I think you can say that about everybody in the Big Ten. Most college teams, I think they all have an identity on what they would like to do. We have the same. Everybody we played this year is kind of like that. Northwest, when you change coordinators, though, there are new ideas that come in offensively. But yeah, we know who we're going to go against defensively. That staff has been in place for a long period of time. There's not a whole lot of surprises, though, as you get into games, especially within the conference.
Thanks, Lovie.
You're welcome.
Okay, Jeremy, you're up. Bob Osmondson on deck. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Good afternoon, Lovie. I know you guys had a big breakthrough, ending a streak against Nebraska. You had some of those last year with Wisconsin, Michigan State. How important is it for you guys to win a game against a team like Northwestern? You haven't won in a while, especially with the rivalry.
Oh, it's important, just talking about the rivalry game within itself. I mean, that's enough for you to really want to win in the worst way. But we do keep track. Everybody keeps track of who has won. This rivalry goes back a long period of time. The trophy that we're getting has changed names. But for us, 5 years is too long. We have ended some streaks, and we're looking to end another one this weekend.
And then you said, we're gaining in this program. What are the biggest gains you've seen this season, especially?
Oh, I think if you just look at us play, without me going into stats, records, and all that, if you look at our play, we have a legitimate chance to win each week. Now, that hasn't always been the case. We had a legitimate chance to beat a good Iowa football team this past week. We're better in all areas. I think anybody that's watching football that knows football would say that.
Thank you, Lovie.
Welcome.
All right, Bob, you're up. Matt Stevens on deck.
Coach, I understand your attention is on the rest of this season, but looking forward, how important would it be to get Doug Kramer back with this team in 2021?
Well, Bob, you say Doug. We have quite a few players in that situation that are very good players that went through senior exercises this past Saturday. In particular, Doug, would love to have Doug Kramer play for the University of Illinois as long as he can play. I'm going to say that about quite a few of our other players too. But right now, as you mentioned, there's bigger things. What we need to do for the Doug Kramers of the world is get them a win against the rival up north. And that does mean an awful lot. We have so many Illinois guys. It's talking about the offensive line. Isn't it all Illinois offensive line? There's a lot of reasons for us to want to win this week.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Okay, Matt Stevens, you're up. Josh on deck.
Lovie, quick, obviously yes or no, is the plan to start Brandon again? Has that plan changed at all in your mind this weekend?
Maybe I should answer it this way. Well, how do you think I'm going to answer that question?
I have an idea. I just kind of,
So
I needed to ask.
I'm just kind of wondering why. I thought we know each other a little bit better than that. We've been hanging out for quite a few weeks. But we know what we're going to do at the quarterback position. No, we're not going to talk about it right now like no one else does. And can't wait to put that on display this Saturday up in Evanston. How's that?
The only other question I have is about your linebacker position, which, if I'm mistaken, had 3 scholarship healthy guys at the end of the game on Saturday. How dire is that position, or do you feel like that there's guys that can step up and make significant contributions that may have not had the opportunity yet?
Well, I think it's just facts on what you said about the scholarship players that we had up. I mean, we've lost some good football players with serious injuries, with some injuries that have kept them out. But With that being said, there is an opportunity for other guys to step up. We finished the game with linebackers on the field this past week. We're going to play the game with linebackers this week. We'll see through the week exactly who will be ready to go. A lot of faith in Coach Miles to get the guys ready to go.
Thank you, Lovie.
You're welcome.
Okay, Josh, you're up, and then Robert Rosenthal. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach. I wanted to ask you real quick about Vidarian Lowe, Doug Kramer, and Palcho, three guys that have been contributing really since their freshman years here. Since they were freshmen, how have their improvements really been able to contribute to the success that this team has been able to reach?
It would be hard to just answer that with a simple answer. I'll try. You know, when you get on campus, I mean, you kind of see guys and you know, they're not fully developed. And the perfect, you know, what you would like to see is just them develop and everybody see it happening right before your eyes. You just want to see guys come here and just be great in the classroom. In every situation that comes up, you want the guys to just check, you want to check the box off on them doing it the right way. That's exactly what we've gotten from those players that you mentioned. They just seem like, you know, it is a coach's dream. And then me personally, you know, being a head coach and spend a lot of time on the defensive side, but I love being around them. Just count on them, have confidence in them. So we can talk an awful lot. They show up every day and they know what I'm going to say. They know the message to take to the rest of the team. I probably should stop talking about those guys right now, but that's what we're talking about. That's why our program is changing based on guys like them.
Thanks, Coach.
Well,
Okay, Robert, you're up, and Joey after that.
Yeah, Coach, I'm just curious your thoughts. Nick Saban made that statement about defense and offense this year, and he's been asked about it and expounded on it. But I'll just read you his quote. It used to be that good defense beats good offense. Good defense just doesn't beat good offense anymore. And that's his view of college football. As a defensive guy, I'm just curious of your views on that.
Oh, I think eventually I think you've always needed good offenses. I mean, you can have great defenses, but you win games based on scoring. Offenses are putting up more points, putting up more yards. I think the game is kind of skewed a little bit, maybe more for offenses to have a little bit more success. But I think every championship football team that you see, college, high school, junior high, Pop Warner, that team is playing because they're scoring points, but I would say that they're playing good defense too. So I think you still need good defense to win and become a championship team. And the champion this year, they're going to score points, but I'm going to say that they're going to play good defense also.
He further clarified that statement a few weeks ago that the secondary is the hardest to coach these days just because of the complex passing schemes and such. Would you agree that scheming for secondary is the most difficult?
I would say that scheming for the secondary has always been very difficult. I would say that playing position-wise for a cornerback to be backpedaling and guarding arguably the best, one of the best players on the team is tough duty. It's always been that way. Most people would argue a little bit it's hard playing defensive line too, but I say cornerback is one of the toughest positions to play in football, period.
Okay, thanks.
Well,
Okay, Joey, you're up.
Hey, Lovie, after going back and watching film and the conversations you guys had, are there any certain things you can point to that would help finish games or really get over that hump?
no, I don't. I think, you know, it's just not that quite, you know, that simple to just say one thing. There's a lot of things that go into it. Each game is different. There are plays that there comes a crunch time when you don't make a play that could send the game in one direction or another. And that was the case the other day. We had a 4th and 3, up 14 points. We could have gotten off the field. They convert. They scored a touchdown pass after that. Offensively, you're going to look at, you know, after we had that 14-point lead to, you know, get one more drive. So I think I think every phase, special teams also, you can point to a play. It's like that in most games. And Don't know when it's going to come. We're just going to keep working to try not to let it happen again.
Thanks, Lovie.
You're welcome.